and gentlemen, let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, a Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. We head up until 2 o'clock the next 4 hours. We've got you a lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We'll talk some NFL football. Chiefs win against the Patriots 27-17. They move to 9-5 on the season, keep pace as the 3 seed. Ravens get the win last night over the slumping Jags, who are now in a 3-way tie for the AFC South, with the Colts and the Texans and the Jags with their loss last night. So the Ravens find a way to win. The Dolphins just punk the New York Jets. The Cincinnati Bengals come back down 10 against the Vikings and win in overtime. Buffalo Bills just simply demolish the Cowboys. Well, you know what? It's just unfortunate. The rain. It's the only reason. It was the rain. You know, it was all set up perfectly for the Bills. And what can you do if you're the Cowboys? And it was more of a running type game, and the Bills were going to be able to take advantage of that. It's just unfortunate circumstances for Dallas, really. The real unfortunate part is that they had to play on the road. That's the rough part for Dallas, is what they're doing on the road. They should probably try showing up to some road games.
I don't get it. It's inexplicable.
Neither do they.
Inexplicable.
Inconceivable. I will be a Cowboys fan next week as well.
Hell yeah, dude.
Against Miami. See what would be a great couple of weeks would be the Chiefs beating the Raiders and the Bengals, Baltimore losing to San Francisco this weekend, Miami losing to Dallas this weekend, and then Miami going to Baltimore and winning. That is just perfectly laid out. That's all that needs to happen.
You're telling me there's a chance.
All that needs to happen, really. It would have to start this weekend with Baltimore heading to San Francisco against a really good 49ers team. And the top 2 leaders for MVP right now in Vegas, Lamar and Brock Purdy, matching up on, that's a Sunday game, right?
I think it's Sunday Night Football. That's what I was just double-checking on.
So coming up this Sunday. It's not a Saturday game. It's not a Christmas Day game. But coming up this Sunday with Ravens and 49ers, Brock Purdy now minus 200 to be the MVP. Man. Even though he said Christian McCaffrey should be the MVP. Even though he said Christian McCaffrey is the MVP of this team, he's been awesome, man. He's been really good and efficient. And if it was anybody not named Brock Purdy, if it was another bigger name, there would not be many people questioning whether or not he's the MVP. He's been dynamite so far this year, but he is now the heavy favorite.
People would be questioning still my knowledge of the schedule. Monday having so many games, it is Christmas night, Ravens-Niners. It's the nightcap on Monday Night Football on Christmas Eve. Or the evening of Christmas. Damn it! Christmas Eve is a thing!
Christmas evening is when they play. So that caps off the entire week of football, Baltimore and San Francisco. So that day as the Chiefs and Raiders match up at Arrowhead Stadium at noon.
We don't
CBS and Nickelodeon.
Ravens Niners is going to be so cool. Obviously, like 2 top-end teams from different conferences, so you never really get to see them match up. We're not going to get to see them play until February again, so...
We actually might.
That's what I mean.
That would be, if I'm picking right now, that's what I would pick.
If we were college football playoffing it, if BCS even, that's my game. That's my game.
Yeah. If I'm picking right now, things can change as more data comes in. We'll see. And we'll see what the Ravens look like from the beginning of a game without Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah.
They lose Keaton Mitchell late in that game. And John Harbaugh said right after the game, it's season ending. Yeah. Like it's a pretty bad injury, and he has been a real boost to that team. Justice Hill is fine, but he doesn't give him what Keaton Mitchell does. If he did, he'd be playing over Keaton Mitchell. And Gus Edwards is your power guy, but if you're just going to be power with Gus Edwards, it takes away that dynamic of if Lamar is giving the ball to the outside or keeping it, whatever, you've got two guys that are speed guys. And Mitchell has been just really, really good for the Ravens. And without Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely, and Likely really bothers me, and this is going to bother you, Josh.
Oh, no.
Is for the last 2 years when I've seen Isaiah Likely, I've seen Jody Fortson.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's out of love.
And that's what he looks like on the field. Yeah. Like he's a taller tight end, not a thicker guy. He's a more athletic type player, and he, is now developing a rapport with Lamar Jackson. It's not just Mark Andrews and then everybody else. The more playing time Likely has received, the better he has been. So it's not like they don't have a tight end type player as well. So we'll see what comes up this weekend.
I thought you were going to say your big issue with Isaiah Likely is that his pancreas is too good. That's my issue with him.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But other than that.
But he reminds me of Jody Fortson when he's out there playing, and it's like, man.
Oh, God, that's so heartbreaking.
What would this team look like in 13 personnel if you switched 81 with Jody Fortson? If you just took out Blake Bell for Jody Fortson, or just took out Blake Bell and just ended there. Full stop.
Yeah, that ball probably just hits the ground if it just straight to the linebacker.
Period. Stop. 913-381-1010. It is a day after a Chiefs game. We'll take your phone calls. I know a couple of people already online waiting. 913-381-1010 is the phone line to join us. And you can text in as well, 913-912-4810. Let's weigh in on the game, what we saw, what happened there in New England. Chiefs get the win 27-17. It was ugly. It is better to win ugly than lose ugly. We have been complaining about ugly losses. They won a game that they were up by 17 points. Offensively, they scored the second most points against the Patriots this season. Offensively. Mm-hmm. Other teams have put up 30 points on the Patriots, but they had defensive scores in there. So the most points scored offensively, I think, was 31 by the Dolphins and now 27 by the Chiefs. 25 outside of that. But Chiefs get 27 points offensively. Could have had 34. Could have had 30. So there are many ways to view this game. If you are a pessimist at heart and you look at this team and say there are real problems and there's no reason to get really invested in this team because come playoff time, one of these issues that have been biting them throughout games for the last 2 months is going to happen in the playoffs, and they're going to lose, and this is about Super Bowls for this Chiefs team. So why even, get yourself fully emotionally invested? If you're the glass half full, you can say Rashee Rice is developing into the player that he is. This team put 5 scoring drives on the board, which is all I've ever asked this year. Score 5 times, 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. If you score 5 times with 3 of those being touchdowns, that's ideal. You score 5 times with 2 of those being touchdowns, okay. Can you win, 23 to whatever? Hopefully you can get to 23 points and keep the opposition from getting to 23, 24. But what I've felt is if the Chiefs get to 27 points, I think they win. Certainly against teams in the AFC. So 5 scoring drives, can 3 of those be touchdowns? They did that in this game. They made plays. Defensively, they did some great things. Drop passes and turnovers, yet again, is a riddle that this team cannot solve. Whether it was Mahomes' fault or not, they are still turnovers. And they cannot get out of their own way. And they had 2 different times on the same drive that they put the ball on the field. Rashee Rice recovered it. Sky Moore got bailed out by what I felt was a penalty. The view that they had the first couple of times didn't show anything. The view from the behind the end zone, you could see him tug at Rashee Rice's jersey, and that's what the official sees, and they throw the penalty. I know Matthew Judon was not excited about that penalty call.
He just was so used to everyone talking about Chiefs and the refs that he just got kind of caught up in the moment.
It's interesting. This would not really be the time to talk about the Chiefs getting all the calls. But,
I wouldn't think so.
But whatever.
Maybe he
regardless,
wasn't really paying attention.
especially considering that the first drive of the game that resulted in no points, back-to-back games where the first drive of the game looked pretty good until it resulted in no points. Against the Bills, the interception, and then against the Patriots, the missed field goal, which we'll get into. Especially with that first drive, what was, to me, a BS offensive pass interference call. Rashee Rice was running his route. The safety with Travis Kelce there is sprinting down a hill and cuts right in front of Rashee.